All right, I think this is about where I left you off last time. We have a lot of profiling to do. So let's go ahead and get started on that fingerboard. Man, I wish someone would teach me how to use a chisel, because I'm fairly certain I'm not doing this correctly. All right, it is time to make sure that my fretboard is perfectly flat before I start radiusing it. And I picked this specific slab of maple for the neck because it was the flattest piece that I have, and it still looks incredibly flat even after all that I've put it through. So I don't have a thickness planer, which would be the right way to do it. I actually don't even have a regular handheld planer. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to scribble on some pencil all the way down, and then I'm going to use my sanding beam that I use for leveling frets. And that's really just going to tell me if I have any trouble spots and if I need to have this planed or not. Now I am making this a fretless bass, which is going to save me the trouble of having to saw out all my fret spacings and then install fret wire and then of course do all the fret dressing. But the flip side to that is that with it being fretless, this thing needs to be perfect. There can be no voids or bumps in this at all, otherwise that's going to translate to pinched off notes. It's not going to play properly. So for fretless, it needs to be pretty perfect. All right, so now this fingerboard is now exactly as flat as my leveling beam, and I don't think I can really ask for it to be flatter than that. So we'll go ahead and start putting a radius. As I mentioned in my last video, I did buy a special tool for this job. It is a 12-inch radius sanding block. It was really cheap. I got it on Amazon, I want to say for like $13. And it's small and lightweight. It's a tool that I can carry in my motorhome, so I didn't mind spending a little extra just to see if I can do this project. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to do the same thing and add some pencil to the middle. And once the pencil's all gone in the middle, then I'll know that I reached the middle in every spot. And in theory, kind of just like crowning a fret, I could leave just a little stripe right in the middle, and that would tell me that I haven't messed up how level this fretboard is. Now I got that nice thin pencil shade all the way down. I'm going to do the same thing, but with 120 grit. Now that looks like a pretty good looking radius. So I am going to sand it more, but not right now, because obviously I have a lot of work to do to the rest of this thing. But yeah, I'm likely to get more tiny bumps and nicks and scratches in it with all the other crazy work I'm going to do to this. So yeah, I'm not going to go any smoother than 120 for right now. All right, same base, different place. Now that I have the fingerboard perfectly flattened and radiused, before I go any further, I think I'm gonna finish planning out the rest of my build. Build a bridge, and then install the tuners, and then plan out where my electronics are gonna go to make sure this is all going to work before I spend hours and hours and hours of carving and sanding. All right, so I think I've come up with a bridge design that I like. I'm gonna do a string through body, And I'm going to leave the bridge posable to adjust for intonation just in case I ever want to put frets on this. So this is going to go right here, and the strings are going to hold it in place, stringing down through the body. This is as far as I had hoped to get today, so I'm happy about that. I got my string through holes set up. I got a couple of tuners installed just to make sure my string spacing is centered and the floating bridge idea works. And I did a ghetto wiring just to test it. And it works. So that makes me happy. Now that I know that this is going to work, I can get to work profiling the neck and carving the body. Alright guys, it is starting to look and feel a lot more like a real instrument. This thing is going to play wonderfully. I'm very excited for it. So, stay tuned next week as I finish it up. So obviously we're all carved up and profiled, but I've got some finishing touches. Some of these transitions need a little more work. Of course, we need to put a finish on it, electronics, and string it up and play it. So stay tuned for the next installment. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and I'll see you in that next video.